morning. Yeah. Someone mentioned to me last week that she was a little bit inhibited by the ritual. But you have to understand that ritual in Zen is not about ceremony. It's about the rituals mean where you are. Nobody is where they are. So when you come into the Zendo, you enter with your left foot away from the altar. That's where you are. When you leave the Zendo, you enter with the other foot away from the altar. That's where you are. You're entering and you're leaving. And ritual, this is a very profound, positive human gesture around the world. When you put your palms together, it's the best gesture. Everybody does it without instruction. So in Zen, there's one addition. We do this as we recognize each other's true nature, not who you think you are, but who you really are. Okay? So, and then on the exhalation, when you bow, hey, do this with me, okay? We're guided meditation. Bow slow. You have to bend when you bow, keep on bowing. On the exhalation, when your exhalation finishes, your thinking mind stop. You come up. Is it true? See, your thinking mind can't stop. So it's on the exhalation that your thinking mind stops, and that's what we cultivate. Otherwise, your thinking mind just keeps on spinning. And it's interesting, just inherently, we always wake up. Inherently. And in Zen, it's about waking up. So when you're asleep, you always wake up. And in this life, when we are asleep, we can wake up. Everything is here, not outside. Here. How's that for a start?
I think yesterday, oftentimes in our family we listen to the news in Danish because my wife cautions from Denmark, and so we were listening to the news yesterday, and Ajo, my son, he's in high school, so we asked him then, how do you hear about this stuff all around the world, and he said there's no reason to listen to it because it's also negative, so him and his friends, or probably all the high school students, they turn it off because he was saying that it's so discouraging to see, and that there's nothing that they can do about it, or he feels that there's nothing that he can do about it, and this kind of goes along with of course the world. If you look at the world, it could be pretty negative size. If you look at all the things that are going on in the world, the killing, climate change, and social injustice, and all that. We look outside and then think that we should change something on the outside in a big scale, but to come back means actually to come back to the very place that you sit. So it's the practice that we do is actually it's a non-doing, and right now I thought of the story of Shakyamuni Buddha. I mean, there's many stories actually of Shakyamuni Buddha, and he just basically sat down every time he actually sat down on the earth, and then felt himself where he was sitting or what he was doing. There's a story about Buddha Shakyamuni when he there was two clans, and one was the Shakya clan. The Shakya clan came from a very strong bloodline, and the neighboring clan was the She clan, and the She clan was a very humble. They came from a very humble origin, and the king of the She clan, he had an idea to then marry somebody in the Shakya clan to get into good blood lineage. So when King Suddhodana from the Shakya clan heard that, then they decided to send over actually a member and a servant maid over to the She clan. And so the king of the She clan then received the woman, and then they got married, and over a long time, the king of the She clan, then they had a Prince Rory. And so Prince Rory, growing up, he wanted to then return to the Shakya clan and then visit his birthplace of where his mother was. So one day he was playing on an altar, and the attendants came in, and the attendants told Prince Rory to get off of the altar. And Prince Rory, at that time, he was like 9 years old, and he was wondering why the attendants told him to get off the altar, because he thought he could do anything that he wanted because he was a prince. So his attendant, God, I forget what his attendant's name is. Koku Banshi was his attendant, and his attendant then kind of gave it away and said that you're nothing but a son of a maidservant. And right there, he became totally furious inside, and he made it a vow that he's gonna basically take revenge on the Shakya clan and wipe the Shakya clan out. So over the years, when he grew up, he prepared himself to fight, and he learned martial arts, and over time, then he took over his father's position as the king of the She clan. So he became a King Rory. And so the day comes when the King Rory wants to attack and wipe out the Shakya clan. So they have a big military, then walks down the road, and he was on a horse, and weeks before, in the Shakya clan, all the students asked Shakyamuni what should they do, and all the warriors of the Shakya clan, they became actually disciples of the Buddha. And so the Buddha then sat underneath a dead tree, and he sat zazen underneath a dead tree, and the time of the Prince Rory or King Rory attacking Kapilavastu, they went down the road, and then he saw the Buddha sitting zazen underneath a dead tree, and he asked the Buddha, "What are you doing, under this dead tree?" And the Buddha said that that even though it is dying, I'm cool in the shade of this one's home, you know. And King Rory, something happened to King Rory, and he stopped the whole attack, and then they turned back. And so over a couple weeks, then Koku Banchi was his attendant, and kept on persuading him that this is what you were going to do, is attack. So he went down the road again, and the Buddha was seated in zazen underneath the tree, and then he retreated back again. But the third time was different. They went down the road and then attacked Kapilavastu, and then basically killed the whole city. And I was thinking about coming back and not getting caught, like a non-doing, not getting caught in all the things that are outside of oneself. So if you refer back to what Roshi was saying by ceremony, it's actually a non-doing, you know. But most of us, or most of the world, we get caught into creating something and trying to fix something out there that almost seems impossible, because it's so big that then we get overwhelmed and consumed, and then we actually just turn it off. You know, so the idea of Shakyamuni Buddha sitting down, actually we wouldn't be here if Shakyamuni Buddha just didn't sit down. You know, that's kind of it's a really important practice to do, is actually come and receive your life as it is, and at the same time to see on the cushion, kind of it's you're wrestling yourself on the cushion to see actually how diluted we are. You know, so within
what Hojo-san was mentioning, non-doing. So actually, the purpose of meditation is where you are, because nobody is where you are. Interesting, huh? That's the first 5 characters in the Heart Sutra. Where you are. In an iPhone all the time. We're not present. Okay? So now you know what ritual is. Where you are. And non-doing is the absence. Meditation is to unify the unruly mind. Right? It's focus. That's the beginning part of it. But on a deeper level, meditation is dissolving the greed in this room, the anger in this room, the ignorance in this very room. That's us. We're not talking about anything outside. That's us. That's what we were born with. We became conditioned. As soon as we were born from the oneness of our mother's womb, now we have to get our nourishment from outside. Everything is education, tradition, culture confirms that reality exists out there. So that's the split, and that's the creation of greed, anger, and ignorance. And meditation is to dissolve. It dissolves are greed, anger, and ignorance. This is non-doing. And you can't do it, but you can awaken to it. You can realize it. You can't be taught it, you can't learn it, but you can realize it. Isn't that something? You can't do it because you have an idea of who you are. And that's very limited. Very limited. And there's a Chinese saying that when things get bad on the outside, that turns us inside. Like now, things are could be worse. Who knows? But it seems like it's always worse. Every year, humanity is foolish and ignorant because why are we still killing each other? We've never learned anything. You know.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's getting worse, but I think our mind sees it as getting worse.
Yeah.
So just like what kind of Adriel was talking about, because you only see the outside and you get swept away by it. So you think that the negativity, or you would say it's it's badness, or it's evilness can take everything over. So you shut it out, you know. But I think that throughout time it's been like that. I mean, earthquake. You know, people say, God, there's so many earthquakes now. I mean, the Earth is like, it's billions of years old. And we're saying, God, there's a lot of earthquakes last week. Has nothing to do with us. You know, so even the at the time of the Buddha, you would say at the time of Bodhidharma, and then also Dogen, they all sat through this. You could look at it as walking, going to ceremony. Going back to what you're saying, going back to ceremony is actually walking. It's walking the ancestors' walk. The Buddhas and ancestors doing what the Buddhas and ancestors do. And so that's the ceremony, and that's coming back to actually awaken way of being. You know, and it is hard. It is hard, but it can. You cannot help. Once you dig down into it, you cannot help but then want to go in that direction, because then for younger generation, it creates actually inspiration and also example. You know, so if you live that way, then you're actually living Buddha when you come and realize a thought when you realize a thought, then you become Buddha and you start walking. You walk then in the ancestors and Buddha's path. So this way of living is actually it's a true expression of true reality of how we live. Through ceremony is basically through opening the door of your car, brushing your teeth, washing your hands, bowing to the altar. All that is then all becomes ceremony. You talk about the sacred and the profane. The zendo, the size of the zendo or the meditation hall then becomes great. It becomes maha great. The zendo where you practice becomes so great that there's only practice that you can do. So even when you leave the zendo, he was talking about when you put your foot into the zendo. What about when you walk outside of the zendo and you go home to your house? That's all part of then the ceremony of walking the direction the ancestors, of the Buddhist ancestors. So that's kind of, I didn't tell Ajo this, but that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it last night, how I would respond to his question, because I think that the teenagers, and of course also the parents, go through a lot of stuff, but the teenagers have a lot of like hopelessness of what they see as examples. You know, it's a hopelessness, but this hopelessness at the same time can be turned if we look at it in a different way. Or when you have a thought, when a thought comes up, if you give it spaciousness, it could transform then into something that's sacred and not something that's negative or bad versus evil. That's, I don't know if anyone has.
Yeah. Maybe some of you people have some questions or
It's very, very
comments?
spontaneous that
Yeah.
we kind of.
Please. Yeah. Here we are. Yeah. Please say something. Huh? Or is it time for lunch? Too early, please.
Well, I have a lot of grandchildren, and it's interesting to watch them become formed and more formed and more formed, and they develop habits. And my question is, I understand the reason for ceremony is to wake you up, is to like stay awake instead of just rote. But what happens sometimes when you get so accustomed to the ceremony?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you lose the wake-up quality of it, or how do you keep it fresh?
Well, how do you keep it fresh is a good question. How do you keep it fresh is you have to be where you are. That's the basic ground for everything. You have to be where you are. You can't do anything if you aren't where you are. Isn't that true? That's very simple, but very hard to do, because you have to unravel all that karma, ignorant, where the root comes from, the ignorance, the anger or cruelty, and the attachment or desire. You have to unravel that.
I think though in one of the sutras it mentions being straightforward, and so when we sit, like what Roshi was saying is unraveling this kind of this self that is very tricky, you know. Throughout the day it's very tricky, you know, you trade things for your ego, everything. It is like that. But if you face reality, I mean, on the cushion, it's a training. So if you think of something, you know, then you don't react to it, and you actually let it go. But that's being straightforward instead of attaching to it. So in your everyday life, there may be something that comes up, and sometimes you react to it, and then sometimes you pull back. But it could be an awareness that we all begin to sharpen, and then it becomes, what I was saying is that the Zendo then becomes something that's bigger than coming up to a place of practice. I mean, we only have this one life, you know, so this one life is actually our place of practice. But if you realize it and practice it, then that's when our ignorance then turns into being our life turns into something that's sacred and profane. You know, it would be so it's the everyday things that we do, and then when we're sometimes we hit it and sometimes we don't hit it, but even when we don't hit it, that's hitting it. And we hit it, that's also hitting it, and that's a lot different way of living than I'm gonna really hit it. Do you understand? So it's an awareness that you bring back, and a quality, and then being inspired to this actually awakening, or even helping people, or being actually where you are. You know, so there's many ways I think you can look at that.
See, when the kids are young, they have, your daughter has the purity. They have, all the kids, they have the purity. It's you see it in them. But little by little, first of all, you have to be an example. If you are an example, it's already gone. But then they lose that purity. But when you lose something and find it again, it's even more valuable. Right? Once you lose something, you find it again, it's 10 times more valuable.
And it
But-
seems like you don't really lose it,
Yeah.
you just kind of get foggy.
Well, whatever you want to call it, but that purity is
But
hard.
every moment,
Yeah.
like, can either go,
And actually, we all still have it. But we have to discover it for ourselves, that it's true.
Yes.
So when you come out of sitting, you know, and you're in your place, and then you go out into the world, or you run into someone who's totally ignorant and greedy and you know, and angry,
Yeah.
and, you know, what do you do? Turn around and go the other way?
There's many instances. I mean, to talk about a black and white instance, you can't. Maybe you walk away, or you shout, or maybe you're the one that's actually the angry one. You could be the one that's the angry one, and then you say, I'm sorry. I mean, it could be many ways, but you can't talk about black and white, but we could talk about a direction to aim, you know, because even that's an idea of going out and seeing if, you know, this is right or wrong, but it's more of it's so great that we cannot conceive it. The spaciousness is so great. There's a wisdom that's so great. That's when you're there, what Roshi is saying, when you're there in ceremony or living your life, something great happens, and you feel that depth, you know, and then that greatness, though, too, it's like a well, that it's like a spring, that then you know it's true if you feel this greatness at the ocean or driving. And it's not like magical or anything. It's you're coming to your life. You know, when you're washing your face and you feel you're coming to your life, and that greatness opens up. Because there's a wisdom that is there, then everything is one. You know, and so we feel that greatness, and then, well, see, I don't want to even say greatness and not greatness, but we're talking, so I have to say it. Then then maybe it goes away, and then again you feel it. So it's a cultivating then. It's a cultivating some awareness, and then that's the way then you start to anchor your life.
Well, I think I'm gonna be here a long time.
Actually, not a long time. We're not here. So now is to do it. Actually, we only have this one chance, and we always say, oh, I could do it tomorrow, or I think I'll be here for a long time practicing. That's a bunch of crap, because you need to do it now. I mean, we're dying. And the other day when I got up, I was thinking, and this was even, it just hit me, when you're born, then you die. But it's even before you're born, you die. I mean, this is the great, it's the great matter of who is this person. You know, it's actually, it's great. The teaching is great that way. Anyways, yeah.
So I understand the practice, and
Yeah.
from what I learned from you, we all are born with purity as
Yeah.
kids, and then time goes, the ego, conditioning, all this stuff happens, and now we have to spend all these years to undo that and detach, and then we die, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
Still, the whole thing looks absurd to me. So philosophically, it doesn't answer why we are doing all of this.
Yeah.
So should we just do it? And then also
Yeah.
there are a concept of like multiple lives. We're back here, like we did something wrong that now we are here. We have to go through this
Yeah.
or not.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do?
Nothing I can do about it, but is this suffering worth it? Because this practice is hard, and it's rewarding.
Yeah, I mean,
It's like, why do I have to do this?
Yeah. But you know what life is suffering. And no matter if you practice or not, people will tell life is suffering, and so
Mostly human life.
yeah, in that way though, of course we're talking about it, so it's also, yeah, it is a training, so it's like reconditioning our habits, or the habit energy, it's like going to a gym then, so it's not bad. It's not bad. We're not saying it's bad, but when we embrace it as a whole, then something different happens. So we usually cut it out and try to improve. You could say improve ourselves. That's another thing. That's what we're talking about now. But all of it is one thing. So yeah.
Roshi, isn't the great gift really practice? Whether you're realized or not realized, or becoming realized, or forgot you were realized, every moment is a matter of practice. And what a gift that is, because then it comes forward and everything is seen in a different light. It may be evil, it may be bad, it may be happy, it may be nothing, it may be boring, but your practice is what makes the difference, and that is the continuation of what was given from the ancestors, isn't it? That anybody, in any moment, brushing your teeth, or having a wonderful zazen, or having a terrible, you can practice.
But again, I think going back to what I was saying about being straightforward. So of course that's all part of the movement of the practice going forward. But it's reconditioning, but understanding that the mind works in a very tricky way. And so when it knows, when you can sit down and then see the mind go this way and that way, it's and we're not doing anything, then we realize that also how much suffering we create for ourselves and also for other people around us. So it's a really like, so when we go out in the world and we do this you would say refraining or this non-doing out in the world, then something happens that's greater than just this self-doing something, you know? And then that's where this purity arises, the wisdom arises, and then that's going forward with the walking the way of the Buddhas and ancestors. You know, so yeah. I think that's good.